Adversity is hard to handle, especially when you're not prepared, but you can get through it. You just have to decide whether you're a carrot, an egg, or a coffee bean. Don't have a clue as to what I mean? Well, stay tuned because in this particular episode, I'm going to be sharing with you some tips and a story that helps me to handle adversity. Welcome to Work It, Live It, Own It, a show that explores how to upgrade your lifestyle through life lessons, real estate, and entrepreneurship. Here's your hostess, SaCola Lair. So, if you listened to my last episode, I shared with you my story of how I went from homelessness to being a homeowner. And in that particular story, I just glanced over some of the things that I've faced in my life. And no doubt you have faced your share of adversity as well. But I came across a story a few years ago that really put things into perspective. So I'm going to share that story with you. Now, this particular story that was shared on social media didn't have a name. So if you happen to know who actually came up with this short story, please put it in the comments below because I would love to give credit where credit is due. But the story is all about when faced with adversity, are you like a carrot, an egg, or a coffee bean? So one day, a young woman went to her grandmother and told her about her life and how things were so hard for her. Her husband had cheated on her and she was so devastated. And she didn't know what she was going to do. She wanted to give up on life. She was tired of fighting, struggling. And it seemed like as soon as one problem was solved, then another one arose. So her grandmother took her to the kitchen and she filled 3 pots with water and placed each one on high fire. Soon the pots began to boil. In the first, she placed carrots. In the second, she placed eggs. And in the last, she placed ground coffee beans. And she let them sit and boil without saying a word. In about 20 minutes, she turned off the burners. She fished out the carrots and placed them in a bowl. She pulled the eggs out and placed them in a bowl. She then ladled the coffee out and placed it in a bowl. Turning to her granddaughter, she asked, "Tell me what you see." "Carrots, eggs, and coffee," she replied. Her grandmother brought her closer and asked her to feel the carrots. She did, and she noted that they were soft. Her grandmother then asked the granddaughter to take an egg and break it. And after pulling off the shell, she observed the hard-boiled egg. Finally, the grandmother asked the granddaughter to sip the coffee. The granddaughter smiled as she tasted its rich aroma. The granddaughter then asked, "What does it mean, grandmother?" Her grandmother explained that each of these objects had faced the same adversity. Boiling water. Each one reacted differently. The egg went in strong, hard, and unrelenting. However, after being subjected to the boiling water, it softened and became weak. The egg had been fragile. Its thin outer shell had protected its liquid interior, but after sitting through the boiling water, its inside became hardened. The ground coffee beans were unique, however, because after they were in boiling water, they changed the water. So I wanted to share that story with you because it really sat with me. I still remember that story to this day. So my question that I asked you at the beginning was, are you a carrot, an egg, or a coffee bean? And I sat back and I had to think to myself, how do I approach life? How do I approach adversities when they arise? Because regardless, as much as we want a peaceful, happy, joyful life, adversities do come up. They're inevitable. But which one are you? So I thought back, am I a carrot because I seem strong on the exterior, but when I'm faced with pain and adversity, do I wilt? Do I become soft? Do I lose my strength? Or am I an egg? Because an egg starts off malleable, a soft, tender heart, but it changes with heat. So do I have this fluid spirit, but after a death or a breakup or financial hardship or some other trial that I faced, had I become hardened or stiff? Does my shell look the same on the inside, but I'm bitter and tough with a stiff spirit and hardened heart? And then I thought, am I like coffee, the bean that actually changes the hot water, the very circumstance that brings the pain? But when the water gets hot, it releases the fragrance and flavor. Now you may say to yourself, hey, I might be a little bit of all three of those things. It just depends on the situation. And you're exactly right. I could see myself in all three of those: a carrot, an egg, and sometimes coffee. But one thing I did realize is that when situations arise, I can't change them. If there's something that I can't change, one thing I've learned through coaching is that I create two lists: things that I can change and another list that I let God handle. I'll say, okay, you know what? I'm going to let you handle that. And these are things that I can take care of. So think about this. How do you react to different occasions? If you're like a bean when things are at their worst, you can get better and change the situation around you if you can change it. However, when the hour is at its darkest and the trials are at their greatest, do you elevate yourself to another level, or do you fall apart in adversity? And so again, sometimes we may look at things and want to change them, but the reality is some situations we can't change. Some people we cannot change, but what we can change is our thoughts. We can change our outlook and how we view things. We can learn to let go. Learn to let go in order to have joy. And I tell you what I mean by that. One evening, my husband came home and he shared a beautiful quote with me. And that quote goes like this: the first to apologize is the bravest. The first to forgive is the strongest. And the first to forget is the happiest. So learn to let go in order to be happy. Now, you may have enough happiness to make you sweet, enough trials to make you strong, enough sorrow to keep you human, and enough hope to make you happy. But you know what? The happiest of people don't necessarily have the best of everything. They just make the most of everything that comes along. Their brightest future will always be based on a forgotten past. Let me say that again. The brightest future will always be based on a forgotten past. So you can't go forward in life until you let go of your past failures and heartaches. No matter what someone else has done to you, no matter what mistakes you have done yourself, you've got to forgive. You've got to forget in order to move forward. And just think about this. When you were born, you were crying and everyone around you was smiling. Just remember one thing. Live your life so that at the end, you're the one who's smiling and everyone around you is crying. You want to leave this earth with people remembering you for being a joyful person that no matter what, when adversity rose, you rose to the occasion and you focused on the things that you could change and not worry about the things that you can't. So I'm going to leave you with this question. When adversity knocks on your door, how do you respond? Are you a carrot, an egg, or a coffee bean? May we all be like coffee, my friends. Until next time, take care. And if you have any tips on how you have handled adversity in your past, I would love to hear from you. Please make sure you leave a comment. And also, if you are enjoying the episode so far, please leave me a review. I would love to hear from you. And if you leave me a 5-star review, I will share that review with everyone. Again, thank you so much, guys. And may you continue to work it, live it, own it in your everyday everyday lives. Take care.